When we had last left the Arisen, they were making some of the final preparations and adventures within the unmoored world before they would perhaps see it through to its end. They traveled around, explored around, fought a whole bunch of weird dudes and creatures, and almost died a few times, but ultimately prevailed thanks to their souped-up cool powers. Now, it was time to activate the final beacon that lie just over where the Everfall used to reside. This is Dragon's Dogma 2. Welcome back.
A peculiar sensation filled me during my time with Lord Phasus.
So you can see we traded out our party a bit again.
I could always sense your presence, Arisen. And so my faith in our bond remained steadfast.
I'm not sure if we will even have like a fight here, given the terrain, right? Like this looks like it would be a pain in the butt to fight one of those weird, like serpentine dragons, but I don't know. Maybe. All right. I think I'm sure I'm ready to proceed and progress. We looked everywhere, I think. Right? Everywhere of import, everywhere new. I think so. Yeah. If I miss something, I'm sorry. Okay. Let's do it. The Godsbane blade is responding. Let's draw it. Seems irresponsible to do this here without telling everyone, given what has happened literally every other time we have done this. Right? We just gather every single person to this one place on the map and call down, like, the Ultra Monster. You know, why didn't we just do this before? Oh, God. Oh, we're getting credits. Okay, we may not actually play the game anymore. Okay. Well, it's not rolling credits yet. Oh no! Gordon, what the fuck? Oh, shit. This is what would have happened with Dragon's Plague. What the fuck? Gordon, what the hell, man? What's going on?
Master!
Jesus, what? Oh, we're going up to this big thing? This is the dragon. It looks same as always. Ugh. I feel like Gordon is fighting against himself, like the dark Dragon's Plague nature, but then also true Gordon. Well, maybe the plague isn't true Gordon. Oh. Here we go. Oh, shit. Okay.
Time has seen worlds uncountable created, only to be snuffed out like candles by the cold breath of oblivion. Eventually, the Great Will, tired of witnessing this, it sought to overturn oblivion by granting unto it a role, a duty, an identity.
Huh.
I speak of the dragon. By
The dragon is the duty?
Does the dragon create a cycle, allowing it to forestall the end of this world time and time again? Yes, there is a. This world
shit.
has been safeguarded by the dragon all along.
Oh, thus when we Godsbaned.
Were chosen to form a part of this cycle. The Arisen is selected by the Great Will to play the role of the dragon's counterpart.
Oh shit.
That is how this world is built. The dragon serves to continue the cycle, and the Arisen exists to oppose it. This is the true meaning of the Dragon's Dogma.
Right.
Once, everyone in this world had a role to play. For a well-crafted
A role
tale
to play.
has no excess. There must be a reason for each character's inclusion.
Oh shit. Am I controlling this? No.
This means that should even one of these characters stray from their assigned role, the tale entire will unravel.
Once again, incredibly meta commentary.
And if it does, their world
Oh shit.
will end. Such is the choice you have made, Arisen.
So could another character do this? Or is it just me?
You have robbed all others of the chance to fulfill the roles they were assigned.
Fuck.
The pawns are no exception. Born of the nothingness of oblivion, they were granted the role of aiding in the perpetuation of the cycle. Yet, bereft of the dragon, that role has been unwritten.
Oh shit. Oh. Oh. This is bad. Oh shit, dude. Oh, it's feasting. Gordon is feasting. Yo, there's brine tendrils pouring out.
It's clear to me now, Arisen. I am no longer a mere vessel. Your great will has imbued me with a lesser will of my own.
Okay.
Will is power. 'Tis the means to shape the world as one desires. Master!
Holy shit!
Oblivion fades. This tale's end has been unwritten. My heart, it aches.
Ooh, your heart aches, huh?
A new world comes. A new tale is set to unfold. Yet, it seems I will not be there to watch it.
Oh. Oh my god. That's the meta commentary of this? This is like... What's his name? The lead... The design director. The lead director or whatever. Like acknowledging that it's entirely possible that in real life he will die someday and Dragon's Dogma, the game franchise, could continue on without him and he will not live to see it. Is that not what the meaning is here? If Pathfinder is like a stand-in for the creator? Yeah, I guess it could be a stand-in for all of the entirety of the dev team, right? And not even necessarily whether you die in real life. But as well, whether or not you leave the development team and you see another developer come along and start to work on the game. right? Start to work on the franchise.
Open my eyes on the world.
Is that not what this is meant to be in reference to?
Without pain,
Huh. So this is like the beginnings of everything then? Or is this afterward?
strive, but I'm alive, and I know I'll survive. I will make it.
I think this is after.
A stage set for greatness, with no audience to witness the cast take their place. Raise the curtain and let the drama unfold. All told, we'll be glad that we got to play. Open my eyes, take a step on the
I think this song is in direct reference to the entirety of the, like, meta-narrative, too.
door
It's like talking about the world being a stage and everything.
where it will take me to. But I know I'm
Which isn't new to Dragon's
I
Dogma.
will make my way. Made my choice. I finally see that I am finally free. See
Didn't he look kind of like the Dragon Forge, too? Your dearest friends. Aw.
Take my hand. I will follow you. if
Your
you
stalwart
will
allies.
follow me.
Oh, yeah. Urtena was, probably characters I traveled the most with, the longest amount of playtime or in-game days. Your journey lasted 160 days with Gordon. Huh. So do you think the main director, what's their name, from who also in the past did Devil May Cry? Maybe they won't work on future Dragon's Dogma games? It really feels like that's what that's commentary on, whether or not, like, mulling over your own mortality or mulling over the sadness of being unable to, like, work on the project again, you know, for whatever reason. Huh. I guess that makes sense given the inclusion of the Pathfinder character. The entire meta story was commentary on, like, what it is to work on a game like this. And like, not just any game, but like a franchise. Right? Because you can think of it like, oh, this world and its multiple iterations as we go into, like, New Game Plus, but also, like, the franchise and its multiple iterations, you know? And I think they really nail into that, or really, like, drill into that, given the references to the first game here, right? Given the presence of original Gran Soren and this being, like, evidently Grancis, right? Or what it used to be. And that in and of itself is kind of meta commentary on the game, right? In that the new game has all these new trappings and everything everywhere, but it is still ultimately built on the like heart of the original, right? Like, there's a clear through line of the design, regardless of how many changes they make. You can still, like, trace the lineage, so to speak. The same way that you could dig to the heart of the sea and you could find Gran Soren. Huh? Huh. I wonder what they'll do next. Right? Because it really sounds like they want to do another... They're going to, like, start pumping out Dragon's Dogma games on a more regular basis, probably at the same speed as mainline Monster Hunter, if I had to guess, because they seem about comparable in size. Well, I don't know. Maybe Dragon's Dogma is a bit longer. I don't know. At first blush, I would say mainline Monster Hunter and Dragon's Dogma would be about comparable size, but maybe that's not true. Maybe Dragon's Dogma is bigger and more complex. I'm not sure. But maybe I'm just saying that because I definitely have a preference for one over the other. Which, no shade to them, it's just not my thing. How fascinating. So what happened to Gordon at the end? Why was it that Gordon didn't like kill everyone in the town when he went into what is supposed to, like, what looks like the Dragon's Plague taking effect? Right? That's normally what, like, if Dragon's Plague advances to its final stage, that is the type of, like, weird, nasty dragon your main pawn would look like. I think there's something... Like, there's something there to analyze that I can't fully wrap my head around, at least right now in the moment, you know? Is there a reason why... Like, what gives to Gordon the way in which he was able to rebel against that draconifying, you know, the Dragon's Plague? Right? Was it just me entering the unmoored world and sort of irrevocably changing fate to where a pawn would have no role to play, and thus the pawn is kind of confused in that sense? And that gave, right, like Gordon said, he got lesser will from my greater will? But then what was it that caused the Dragon's Plague in the first place? Is it other players with unmoored worlds? Oh. Well, his ass was going to Bitter Black Isle, right? Unless there's something new out there now, after all this time. Okay. Lyle, level 73, playtime, 121 hours, 39 minutes, 25 seconds. Really? 121 hours? How did I do that? How many videos did I have that went over time to where I would have gotten 121? Right? I could see being off by like 10 or 20, but that many? Did I leave the game open and running at some point? I don't think so. No way, 121? How can that be? How is that possible? Did I end up doing that much, like, inventory management? That feels wild, right? If the playthrough is only 80-something hours? Well, no, 80-something videos, right? Some videos definitely a bit on the longer end. Okay, yeah. I guess I'm just curious what the actual runtime is of the playthrough itself versus how much I did off camera. Because I couldn't see it being more than 20 hours of off-camera work, wherein I'm just, like, looking through pawns, upgrading equipment, sifting through inventory. Maybe. Time's fallen, 22. 15 wake stones. Killed 4,589 enemies. I used wake stones more on others. Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming that, it really sounds like there will be a DLC, right? And I'm assuming that when we get to... Oh, I can rotate. that when we get to it, it will be like a side story that elaborates more on like the nature of the system of the dragon's dogma. You know, it won't be anything particularly like a direct continuation or whatever. Hopefully we find... I would love to see more dwarves, right? We haven't seen like where dwarves hang out or are from. We've only just seen a few, like I think 2 or 3, right? I'd be into that. It seems unlikely, though, that they would be from Bitter Black Isle. Maybe they won't do Bitter Black Isle again. Huh. Oh, you know what would be fun is if they did a dwarf area, right? Dwarven stuff, they dig underground. And somehow they have dug themselves into Bitter Black Isle. No, isn't BBI like way too far away, though, for that to be feasible? I don't know. I guess you could have like a intricate minecart system to where like it fades to black. Maybe. All right. Return to title, it says. Okay. Oh, this is the old music and everything, but it says Dragon's Dogma 2. Oh, and there it's Vernworth. Restart game with current level and equipment. Wow. Well, there you have it. Holy cow. That was yeah, I guess there wasn't a fight or anything. We just got to see the ending. There it is. Okay. New Game Plus, I guess. Do we have to make a new main pawn then? Or is Gordon still with us? It seems like Gordon maybe... I don't fucking know. Weird. It is interesting that we've now got this world forged to contend with. Who is definitely meant to be an allegory for, like, the developers as a whole. Or maybe just the lead director. Yeah, very fascinating. I've really quite enjoyed Dragon's Dogma 2. Though I don't know that I enjoyed it quite as much as Dragon's Dogma 1. And I think that is entirely in part due to the fact that DD2 is simply far easier of a game than DD1 was, right? DD1 got so difficult with Bitter Black Isle, and then early game DD1, specifically Dark Arisen, being able to toggle on hard mode, right? That made it really fun and really challenging. I would be into something here, like if they did a similar update. One of the other crucial points as well is that DD1 had the world dragon or whatever, right? That everyone could attack and contribute to. Remember we did a little tease, we showed it off in our playthrough toward the end of that. There is nothing like that here in DD2, at least not yet. I would love to see some sort of higher scale difficulty or even scaling difficulty that keeps track of how difficult things get. I can't help but think of something along the lines of Hades 1. I don't know if it's present in the sequel. I haven't played it. I don't intend to play it until 1.0, but they have a way in which you can really crank up the difficulty in that game continually. Yeah, I would love some kind of like leaderboard situation. Not even necessarily like global, but at least like among your friends list or whatever. Right? And of course, feel free to add me on Steam or just look up Gordon's little pawn code. It should be in the description of every DD2 video. But of course, if you're friends with me on Steam, you can recruit Gordon for free, even if you're like very low level. If you don't want him super overpowered, but you still want to travel with him, just change out his weapons or give him no weapon, right? I could see myself playing more of this off camera, right? doing some, I don't know about going through a shitload, you know, but I could see myself tooling around a bit more, especially leading up to any potential DLC. Yeah, otherwise, I do really like a lot of what Dragon's Dogma 2 did to go back sort of on my thoughts between them. Sort of measuring them against one another in this way, or just even thinking about DD2. Like, just off the top of my head, I would give DD2 like a 4 out of 5. And DD1, Dark Arisen, which is when I played it, when it first got ported to PC officially, I would have given that a 5 out of 5 because it came already with Dark Arisen, I believe. Or at the very least, it came already with higher difficulty, which I did really enjoy. And although DD2 has far more complicated systems and definitely more branching paths of the story in such a way, right? That is really cool, but ultimately at its heart, Dragon's Dogma is an action role-playing game, right? So if you progress to a point where it's like, it gets way too easy, you start to run into the issue where like, it does impact the enjoyment a bit, right? But I don't know entirely how you would completely fix that. If anything, one way in which it was made a bit easier, or a bit tougher, is being able to swap vocations and you know, swapping vocations at a high enough level. It does get difficult, as we had seen multiple times through this playthrough, especially when we swapped to Trickster and that kind of sucked ass, and especially with Mage, being a fresh mage in the unmoored world was pretty wild. Once again, another huge improvement. Right, there's so much stuff that DD2 does better, but the glaring issue for me is that the sort of challenge and like loot hunt that was present with Dark Arisen just isn't quite there, you know? But it totally seems like they've got room to expand upon it with this entry of the game, and I really sincerely hope that they do. You know what? Also, the meta commentary at the end with regards to like seeing your, like not being able to see the rest of the world or the game, you know, Pathfinder sort of lamenting that. You could also think of that as Dark Arisen itself, right? Because I don't believe the original design director or creator, the lead creator or director or whatever, creative director, was not responsible for Dark Arisen, you know? Very fascinating. Yeah, I'm so curious what they'll do in the future. I feel like that's the tough part of these that'll come with these games, is having the like meta commentary be poignant. Right? Because eventually, aren't you going to run out of things to talk about? I guess once you start running out of things like that, that can also be the meta commentary. Is like, yeah, we've just made a lot of these games now. Like 30 years from now or whatever, playing Dragon's Dogma 4. No, it won't take that long, I hope. But they'll start running out of ideas, and they'll be like, yeah, the meta commentary will just be that. Huh. I do also think the game would benefit from, like, wrapping up more of the core game a lot nicer, right? Especially for people new to the franchise with DD2, which apparently there were a shitload of people new to the franchise with it. You know, it's kind of rushed at the end. Like we had mentioned, you don't get, like, a clear wrap-up with quite a few characters. There's not, like, a satisfying feeling of closure with a lot of them. Granted, it's not super important because it is first and foremost an action role-playing game, but I cannot help but feel the more they dabble with branching sort of narrative branches, you know, different narrative branches and stuff, wherein you can fail a quest and it still completes, and the pawns are like, wow, I've never seen that happen before, you know, shit like that, which we did a whole lot, right? Different ways in which you can resolve a quest where it plays out. I feel like once you start dabbling in that, your players, especially new players coming in, begin to develop an expectation that they do want the writing to be spot on and to deliver on closure, right? Because they will also, like, they will come into this with that expectation, like, okay, if they're dealing with this sort of thing, I do expect this level of narrative cohesion. I do expect this level of closure with the storyline, you know? Still, I really enjoyed it, right? I did really, really enjoy it. Like, if we're comparing the core games, Dragon's Dogma 1 core game and DD2 core game, it's just a complete improvement, right? The wrench is only thrown into things when you factor in Dark Arisen, right? And I do incredibly hope that they will do a Dark Arisen here, which Capcom always seems keen on doing at least one DLC. You know, even Monster Hunter World got Iceborne? Ice something or the other? So I would imagine this will get something like a year or two out. At the very least, a year out, we'll hear more about it. Honestly, shockingly close in playtime, or in length, at least the playthrough, compared to the first game, right? Huh. I do see what people mean as well about the main storyline being a bit brief. But at the same time, I get it, because this is kind of a game about cycles, right? They want to keep it open for you to do another run-through, another playthrough, if you want to. And thus, if, like, for instance, if you fuck up in the Unmoored world, or you even don't know, right? It's your first run-through. You could then speed run through the main storyline, right? I'd be interested to know if there's any shortcuts you can take in the main storyline, if you already know how everything plays out, right? Like, is there a way in which you could just run up and kill faces or something, right? Huh. Because there are already shortcuts within the world in that, you know, we had seen just by virtue of exploring around. Like, if I went and started New Game Plus, there's nothing to stop me from immediately going to the volcanic island. Right? There's nothing in the way. We just have to go through 2 alternate routes, like the long way around. Which I fucking love that does exist, right? That did not exist in the first game. Yeah, what a fascinating game. How fascinating, right? I think that's why I enjoy it so much, is because, like, from a design standpoint, like, there's so many interesting decisions that they made, and like, they gave you so many different ways in which to sort of explore the world and branch out with stuff. Or not even necessarily explore the world, but progress to different biomes in the world, right? Like, if you want to go through the main story route, you'll get to Battahl from Vermund. Or you can just skip it, right? But does the main story quest support that? I don't know. Or would you still have to go back and do quests in Vermund? Yeah. Really fascinating. Really interesting. Okay. Well, that ought to do it. Like I said, Dragon's Dogma 2. Very much looking forward to and interested in potential DLC, depending on what we're doing on the channel at the time whenever it comes out. If it comes out, we'll try and get on it. But at the very least, even if I don't have time for it, we'll do like a little preview or behold video or something, right? And I'll just play it in my own free time. But yeah, feel free to check out Gordon. Thanks to all who watched, and thanks to all who recruited Gordon and gave Gordon little gifts and traveled around with Gordon. whether it be in the past already or in the future, right? In the distant future, perhaps even you're watching this playthrough and you've recruited Gordon. It would be fun to sort of go through the game and check up on Gordon, like when the DLC lands, and see all that happened, all the adventures that Gordon potentially got up to. I don't know, that'd be pretty fun. But yeah, thanks to everybody who has or will interact with Gordon. I'm sure he'll have quite the rip-roaring time, whether it be in this game or his iteration in DD1, of course. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing, for commenting. Yeah, thanks for all of that. Thanks for sharing the videos. Oh, thanks for, like, sending in any sort of direct tip for the channel. And I do really appreciate it. It is incredibly helpful. You know, stuff like Patreon, Coffee, PayPal, the Super Chats, the membership or whatever for the channel. All that stuff helps a load. I think that ought to do it. Thanks so much for watching, even if you just watched this one video just to see the end. Quite the ending. Pour one out for all the folks who didn't get the cool unmoored ending. I'm curious how many people played through the first game that didn't go to the unmoored ending, right? Like, if you played through the first game and got to the wild shit in that one, I feel like you're way more set up to maybe perhaps not find the secret yourself, but to think, oh, I didn't find a weird secret, I'm going to look up what it is, right? Whereas if you aren't familiar with Dragon's Dogma 1 or Dragon's Dogma at all, I think it's entirely possible you just finished the game and you're just like, yeah, okay. That was the end. It sure did end weirdly quick, right? There was very little closure for stuff that I thought we were going to get closure on. I could totally see that being the case. How fascinating. All right. Well, what a fascinating experiment almost of a game, you know? I'd be so curious to see, like, player metrics, you know, about, like, you know, simple stuff like, oh, how many players chose this vocation? Did more players prefer, for their main character, did they prefer a beastren or a human, you know? But then also stuff like how certain quests branched, how many people, like, got into Battahl before the main story quest sent them there, how many people found the unmoored world, and on which playthrough, if it was their first one or later on down the line, how many people had Dragon's Plague problems pop up. Very curious about that stuff. Anyway, like I said, definitely keeping an eye open for expansion or DLC. I think it'll be dope as hell. Although I say I liked it probably less than DD1 Dark Arisen, I still did really, really enjoy this, right? Make no mistake. But there is sort of the glaring issue of it becoming rapidly quite easy. Like, especially if we played the same way we did DD1 and chose to be just one vocation, one or two vocations as we unlocked them, rather than continually swapping around. I think this game would have been super duper easy, right? Because already we saw it with Thief, which just so happened to be the first vocation I picked, but man, we were ripping shit up. All right. Still, nonetheless, despite its faults, I don't know. I think you gotta have room to enjoy imperfection, right? I dislike the notion that only perfect or near perfect things are worthy of praise or can be a source of joy, right? I dislike that so vehemently, you know? If anything, I'm quite the opposite. I think it should even be, right, like if you're sufficiently into a hobby or something, like video games, like even specifically role-playing games, I think there is a place wherein you can appreciate well-done things within an otherwise bad work, right? Like in a 1 out of 5 game or whatever, you know? I feel like there should be room to appreciate that as well. I dislike sort of the knee-jerk reaction of like, oh, well, this isn't quite as good or whatever. Like, yeah, I don't know. Take a more, like, analytical approach to the nuance of the situation, you know? A more academic approach to it and kind of enjoy it in that sense, right? I don't know. But, nonetheless, Dragon's Dogma 2, it's been a big hit across the world. They've sold so many copies, evidently, that they have said that it is going to be a more frequent sort of game. We're going to get more installments at a faster pace rather than 10 plus years. Looking forward to that. All right. Thanks for watching. When we wrap this up, eventually we will swap around our schedule. I'll do an in real life video for that as well, sort of talking about it. But thanks so much. Hope to see you in a future playthrough, or maybe in the backlogs of playthroughs long gone. And if not, thanks so much for watching this one nonetheless. Until next time, if there is a next time, please take care of each other.